Hey, call me Shaven Terry reacting to a video called Nearly All Men Tell Me Not to Get Married. This should be a good one. Before I get into the video, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel blowing up, help us get to 5K subs. Let's get right into the content.
I want to welcome the GMs and the wives, the godly men and the warm, inviting, feminine, empathetic women out there. So many men, nearly all men that I've talked to that are married, have encouraged me not to get married and have told me that they encourage other men not to get married. And it's no secret that a lot of men nowadays are not taking marriage seriously, at least in the Western cultures and society. And the reason for that is mainly due to the laws. I mean, it's really remarkable that a woman can cheat on her husband and still get custody of the kids. It's like, you really, really, government, you want to have somebody that is capable of deception and cruelty toward their own flesh and blood to run the household? Like, oh wait, that's our government in the United States. So it does make sense, actually. So it's almost like every single law around marriage right now in the United States and just in the West in general is contrasted with favoring women. And I've had some really terrible stories that I've heard from men, and the women have had to pay little to no consequences for those actions. So what do you get in a society where there's always going to be a safety net for women? There's always going to be a safety net for a woman to fall back on, because she can, and you know, I'm making this video, I want to make it clear, I'm making this video not to degrade women or anything like that, but to simply tell the truth about what can happen in these situations, because a lot of the women want you to believe, and in society, men have been coerced to believe that women ought to be the center of their world. And women operate under this assumption, and they consistently feed each other delusions and fantasies, all up into the point in which a real man is able to make them fold under their own psychology. And the only reason that a real man can do that is because he's seen his own darkness, and he knows what women are capable of as well. And he doesn't judge the women for it. He doesn't necessarily condemn women for it, because he understands that, biologically speaking, a woman's main goal is to survive, and a woman will do whatever's necessary to do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop it right there. He has a great point here. Marriage was a great idea. Okay, come together, have a family, do it under a household, and statistically speaking, marriages are the best circumstance to raise a family, right, as far as the children goes. But we've made it so that women have all the incentives to get married and none of the risk, right? And men have all the risk and none of the incentives. So it's unbalanced at this point now. So if marriage is good for children, I think we need to restructure the laws in America so it could favor making it a win-win scenario for both parties. But now it's like he said, a woman could cheat on you, request a divorce, which, by the way, there's no fault anymore, right? So she could say she's getting a divorce for a different reason, and still get awarded custody of the children, alimony, and take you to the cleaners as far as your assets, right? And so what's in it for men? Because if we just get wives who got us by the balls, what's really in it for us? And listen, I would love to be married. I'm hoping that could be a thing for me in the future, but I'm looking at it like this might be the worst business contract a man of any value could potentially sign. So I'm agreeing a lot with him.
And this is very clearly done and expressed in the Adam and Eve story, because what Eve was beguiled by the serpent was not just temptation, but of mystery and curiosity. And women have this explicit imagination. Any man that's dealt with a lot of different kinds of women understands this, because a woman's imagination is, as a man, your best friend, because she has such a vivid imagination that just the words that you speak can influence her. If you have a masculine influence, that is, can influence her to think about a variety of different ways and things that you can say. It's kind of like a double entendre or a triple entendre. So you can say certain things and have her mind thinking to herself, well, what could that mean? What could that mean? What could that mean? And it's the healthy excitement that you're gonna go for as a man in the relationship, but ultimately women are also very much attracted to that dark excitement, because it's taboo. It's not something that you're supposed to do, right? It's not something that you're supposed to be doing. And I've had women where I didn't even know they had families. And this was years ago, but I didn't even know this woman had a family up until about a month or 2 months into talking to her. And she was very clear, quote unquote, about her being available. She made it seem like she was single and she was ready to mingle, right? Never mind, this woman legitimately had a full-fledged family at home. And I think at this point most men are beginning to realize that if a woman has a 9-to-5 job, or really any kind of job, it's highly possible that she is cheating on you, because it's just the norm nowadays. Like, it's just the norm. So if she goes somewhere to work and she's not remote, that's a large possibility that she's cheating. And if you don't believe me, look at the marriage statistics, right? Out of the 50% of marriages that end up in divorce, 80% of those divorces are initiated by women, right? So that means that out of that 50% of marriages that are ending in divorce, 40% are initiated by women. So women simply are not wanting to be in relationships anymore, and men are beginning to realize this. And there's a lot of men that are waking up to it, and there's a lot of men that are beginning to realize that they just want a family. You know, they want a relationship with a loyal woman that they don't have to wonder about. But
that's hard. That's hard. He's right. A lot of women do cheat, and because a lot of women, they don't marry for this love. They're with the guy. They're happy. They're marrying for the security. Unfortunately, right? For us, it's unfortunate for us, because we love if women would marry us because they're just generally interested in us and only want us. And that might be the ideal version of marriage at this point now. I think a lot of women, this is why people say, oh, if you got money, women will marry you. You know, that's a big thing, because they're looking at like, well, I don't have to work, or I don't have to worry about ends meet anymore. You know, do I think all women are cheating? I don't know. I don't have his experience to say. I never dealt with something like that where a woman lied for a long period of time, essentially making it seem as if she was single, but then the whole time she had a family and a husband back home. That would change my mindset a lot. But I have seen women who marry men that I don't really think they're generally interested in. I think they want the security of him more than anything else. And they're able to manipulate that man into marrying them. And he's not thinking at all that she's just using me for my wealth. He's thinking, oh, well, look how wonderful she's treating me, right? Look how wonderful it is to have someone that really thinks about me and cares about me. And for all the men that don't have any or much experience with women, they fall for this, right? Like for me, I have a lot of experience with women, so I could tell genuine interest from, you know, being interested in me for ulterior motives or ulterior reasons. A lot of men can't see that. You know, a lot of successful men, they didn't have it to the point where back in the day they were getting all the girls so they could, you know, they could kind of decipher this. And that's kind of the thing that most men got to be scared of, is that a girl could be so eager to marry you now, but ultimately cheat on you later. And you can't fall for what she's doing now. You got to look at her character more than anything else. And you got to look at how you really appeal to her. If she went and date you while you're broke, it's probably not worth being with her. You want a girl who could pull you out of the mud, right? Or get in the mud with you. Not a girl who, the minute shit hits the fan, she's out. Because, man, there's a lot of that too. Like, the minute you fail on your end, they're gone, right? So, it's scary, man. I think it is. I think he has some good points. Let's continue to watch and see what else he got to say.
Seems like you're going to have to become a narcissistic superhero in order to just have the emotional stimulation to keep a woman around. And a lot of men are saying, I'm out. And a lot of them are saying, I'm just going to focus on myself and I'm going to live my life in peace. And a lot of them are going to be in the relationships and they want to continue their bloodline. And I think what the healthy thing to do in this situation is to accept that at any point a woman could leave you and you her. That's really that. Marriage is not what it used to be anymore, at least legally speaking. Legally speaking, marriage is not at all what it used to be. So, what do you do in a society which favors the divorcing of families and ostracizes people based off of their preferences of wanting a relationship, a long-term stable relationship? What do you get in a society when you do those things? Well, you get nowhere. You don't get anywhere. The creation of life comes to a halt, and spiritual death begins to run wild and rampant. And that's exactly what we're seeing today. And you know, even me myself, I think about how like it should not be this difficult. Like, it should not be this challenging to have a woman that wants a family. Like, it really shouldn't be this difficult, because I've built myself up to a certain extent. I know who I am. I know where I'm going. I have a plan. And yet it's almost like it's just let me give you some more perspective here. There was, at the gym today, there was a woman, and this just really gave me an indication on how out of touch women are with the male experience. Like, I knew that, like, I know it already, and I don't expect women to know it. I don't expect women to know that, but it just goes to show how out of touch they really are. There was a couple of women talking next to me while I was doing some curls, and they were talking about their relationships, because as women usually do, and they were talking about what the guy's got and his status, and oh, he's only got 2 family restaurants up in whatever city. And the woman was like, only 2 restaurants? Like, he needs to have at least 5 for you to consider him. And I was just thinking to myself, like, who are you? Like, who are you? You expect these guys that you're dealing with to own restaurants everywhere? Like, is that really what? Like, is that the standard now? Holy moly! Because you're looking at not a lot of men at all, and it's not like these women aren't attractive, or it's not like, you know, they weren't necessarily cooperative, but I mean, they were kind of bitter. There was a bitter energy about them. And
You know why? Because they're entitled. The fact that you could say, and this is what happens to men, right? We get minimized. He only has 2 restaurants. Yeah, you're right. There is a guy there that got 3, 4, 5, right? But what does that guy want from his woman? That's like if I told a girl, well, you only got an ass. You don't got no tits. Isn't that like offensive? Isn't that rude? You know, and I would never say that because personally, I like girls with asses and no tits. That doesn't bother me. If you're flat just like a volleyball player, you know, you're my type. Big butt, volleyball player chest, I'm cool. But we don't reduce women to these things, right? Even I would date a great girl who had no ass, no tits. If she's an amazing woman, why not? You know, if I'm attracted to her and I think she's a great person, I would date you. But it's like the desires of some women, and I'm going to use the word some because it's not all, but the desires of some women are insatiable, right? They think that they can get the world, that they're entitled to everything. And what they'd like to see, these women that he's talking about, is that guy that owns the 5 restaurants, he might want 5 women to go along with it too. Right? They're expecting a man to have everything and only have eyes for them. God forbid he cheats. Oh my God, he cheated on me. This guy has 5 restaurants. He got his life made. You're not the only one that finds him attractive. In fact, he could have got a lot of girls with 1 restaurant. Him having 5, that is ups the ante. So we got to this place now in this world where we want everything. We're so entitled. We don't see the world from the standpoint of first of all, having many restaurants doesn't make you a good person, right? You should date a man for how great of a man he is, for the first part. And second off, is like, it just tells us men that, look, like, if there's girls like that are unhappy with me having this, that the minute another man comes along with more, she's gone. You know, and so what happened to that, you're for me, you have my back, no matter where I'm at. You know, there's none of that. So, I don't know. That's my take on the video. I think it's really an unfortunate place that we're in the world. I would love to be married. I don't know how that's going to happen. And what I'm really saying is I'd love to have a long-term, lasting relationship with one woman who becomes like family to me, and we start a family together. But as time goes on, it seems more and more impractical and honestly naive. So, what's your thoughts on it? That's my thoughts on it. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. Channel's blowing up. I appreciate you guys. Check out some other videos, and I'll see you over there.